en route to an area where there may have been some wood clacking last week. Actually, I'm wrong. It was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. Late in the season, I'm losing track of where I've been, and I've got two potentially active areas that I'm kind of filtering between. So at this point, we're local today, and we're going to be further north tomorrow. The long story behind that is I pan for scenery and all that. We had inadvertently found out we had a long weekend, so I'm going to run with that notion, and we are going to, why do one when you can do both? Kind of. So there's that. So 2 days out, and we'll see what we get from all that once we're done. We're going to be kind of paralleling a wetland that's down that way and heading among some pines, because that's where the potential noise was heard, and basically see what happens. There's some hunter tape too, so that could potentially point to human human presence. It's never impossible, so we'll see what that turns into, but we'll try to minimize noise for the sake of that. I think I mentioned this the last time I was here too. If you're noticing the blue lines on the trees, they're planning at some point to do a timber harvest in here, which is a New Englandy kind of term for logging for the better health of the forest, so they claim. So, and again, I have mixed feelings about that, but it is what it is. But there's zero chance with all this leaf litter I'm going to sneak up on anything, so. But if we're trying to reproduce wood clacking, that could be part of the plan. Something's been digging here, and given my knowledge of what's in the neighborhood, it could be a bear. It is a fair guess it could be a bear, but I don't know. No more reason to keep your eyes out. That's why I like this time of year. I think I've mentioned this before too, that it's just, with all the undergrowth gone, you can kind of see out further, so random run-ins with bears and the like are less likely, given that you have a longer stretch that you can see through when you're out here. So far, nothing though. So. A lot of wind damage though, down limbs and the like. Today's fairly calm, but this area does get its fair share of wind and resulting wind damage to the trees. I usually give the weather too. It's November, so it's probably about 30 degrees right now. Not freezing, but not. It isn't warm out. I'm not going to pretend that, but it is chilly. Kind of paralleling the wetland at this point. I can walk through this stuff without killing myself. You get so wrapped up in the eye pokers you forget what's under your feet. So that came down painfully. I had specifically liked this area because it had less undergrowth, so I thought there's more of that this year, it seems, than I remember. It's also probably been a year since I've been through here. Also not appreciating the interruption of the overflying airplanes. Second one this morning. This is where it opens up a little bit. So, hold on. Get a wider angle. This is the area. It kind of goes up on a bluff up there. I don't know how well that's reflected with the camera, but parallels this wetland right here. And it's a good vantage point for anyone who likes to watch potential prey items pop out here, and it's always a possibility that one of them is kind of sequented up here, and then there's that. A lot, again, wind damage and down trees. Other than that, I'm just videoing a walk in the woods and the like, but not every journey out bears fruit, though. Well, I'm going to take a look out on the wetland myself. There's a bald spot right there where we can have a look and then we'll go up the ridgeline a little bit, or the hill, whatever you want. It's not that big. Not like Vermont where we were last week. Where we were on a legitimate ridgeline, and going up there tomorrow could be interesting because they may have had snow. The snow up there begins sooner, obviously, so the outlook for an early morning arrival there is going to be about 18 degrees. So where it's chilly here, it's cold there. And fairly quiet in here today. I'll go back in a little further after we have a look here and see what we can see. But this is the wetland in question. Right here. And I am going to probably pause for a moment to take a couple of pictures too, just for the sake of it. And if nothing else, to let that lovely plane go by. So we'll be back in a few. Thought I heard something. course, once I start walking, if there's anything around here, it's going to hear me too. So. Seems all quiet in here today, though. Have a look on the other side of this, and I'm going to probably start heading back towards the second part of the day. So, it's kind of quiet, and what I'm going to specifically try to reproduce is whether you get a clack or something on the way out, because in the past that's usually how that's happened. I don't know if they're messing with you on the way out, if that's what that is, or kind of like the sounding of a pre-all clear, but we shall see. Interestingly, the water doesn't seem to be frozen. I find that interesting because it was... No, actually down there in the middle it might be. I was going to say last night got down into the lower 20s, so one would think you'd get frozen. You have a pond freeze over at least a little bit in that kind of temperature. But we're gonna make our way back at this point. And good day for something to happen though. It's very still and quiet in here. You get the odd bird, but it is quiet. So the way we came. Just real quick. I can share that much since it's quiet in here today. It is like really quiet in here. Surprisingly quiet. No real complaints about that, I guess. Gotta hop this real quick. Then we'll continue. This is an interesting thing you see in the this time of year. Hold on. This like crystallized icy formation in what's normally mud is always kind of interesting because you don't see that any other time of year before like November. One of those little taps on the shoulder, summer's over and all that. It gets colder and the conditions in here are a lot different. So, one major difference is you do typically hear more songbirds in the summer, the warmer months, before they head out and migrate to wherever they go. But that starts dropping off in October for the most part. I guess I'm going to sound it all quiet today in here at this point. In a minute anyway. Okay. So, actually this is kind of, I don't know what this is, but an interesting break right here. For context. No claim of origin, just something to make note of. And we're going to start working our way back and take things from there. So once we get out into this little clear spot here, I'm going to end the segment here.